So I've had the Rev7 now since, 2 weeks now, since the beginning of February almost. And I've been using it pretty much every day, just trying to get used to it, and wanted to put a video out there. This won't be as good as a lot of other people's reviews who have gone really in depth in stuff, but I just wanted to add some things that I would have liked to know. Probably like a lot of you, I was just like kept searching for Rev7 on the internet, trying to find out information about it and stuff. So let me try and do a quick review. So basically, let me start at the top. The pitch faders, I really like these. The feel of them, it reminds me of back in the day. Whoop. It reminds me of back in the day, Technics 1210s. It feels solid. Now, it's been years since I've been on Technics, so, you know, I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but I was using a DDJ 1000. Before that, I was using a tractor controller. And then years before that, let me put it this way, a bunch of controllers or CDJs that I've used, I haven't really liked the feel of the pitch. Whereas on this one, it feels proper. I really like it. It feels proper. There's also no indent, which is helpful for, I was doing a trick the other day where as I was in a mix, as I was doing a tone play here, I was having to adjust the pitch here, and it's helpful not having that indent where it suddenly clicks in place, you know. So I like that a lot. If you're like, well, what if I want to get it at exactly 0? Well, there's always a reset button, so you can do that anyway. Okay, what else up here do I like? Okay, coming from Record Box and a DDJ 1000, I've found the navigation of the library hard, because on Record Box with a DDJ 1000, you get to your track and then you push it down to load it. But on this, you push it down and you go back a structure in your library. So you end up thinking you've loaded a track and you're in the wrong place. I'm still not used to having to navigate to the place and then press the load button. I'm still not used to that. I'm hoping I'll get used to that, but I'm finding that proper frustrating. I wish there was an option to change that. Then again, you could say at least it means you don't accidentally load a track in the middle, because I have it set up like most people for instant load, so that you can stop a track, load the next one, and the next second play the next one. I did that in a mix that I recorded the other day. So I guess it could be helpful having the load a separate button there. Okay, I also really like that you've got key controls here. I love that. I wish the DDJ 1000 had that, but it didn't. And I really like having the key controls here. I think that is wonderful. Sensor button, I do use that, and one of the things I'm liking about Serato now that I've had to switch from Record Box, because this only works on Serato, I love the flip function, because a lot of music has some lyrics that I don't really want to be playing, and some of the lyrics, with the flip mode, you can censor them, and you can even make your own DJ edits and save that as a flip mode. So I love that you can do that. Yeah, that is banging. The loop works fine for me. I prefer these loop buttons to the loop buttons you get on CDJs. Instant scratch. Okay, so I got I've got mixed feelings about this. Something I do really like about it is for practicing, you can just power up your controller. It does take a few seconds to power up, but then you don't have to open up your computer, you don't have to get your mouse, you don't have to load up Serato and pick your samples or anything. You just press instant scratch straight away and then you've got a sound. So that is banging. The thing I don't like so much, two things. One is that they give you one beat to practice with, okay? But in instant scratch mode, the tempo is stuck. It only does -8 or +8. So here I'm stuck at 92 beats per minute. So if I'm learning a difficult scratch, you know, and if it's a scratch where you want to start learning it at like 70 beats per minute and then gradually build up speed, you can't do this here because 92. What you can do though is you can make it goes up to 108, and if you're like, well, I want to go faster, what you can do is hit the 45 button, right? And now it goes to 145, okay? But it would be nice if you could have like ultra pitch. That's a little bit of frustration. My other frustration is the noises. So there's nothing wrong with this sound, but it's one of those ones with a fake crab sample at the end and then it loops. And because of that, there's a very small gap at the beginning of the sample. And me personally, I like a bigger gap because otherwise, sometimes I'm getting that fake crab scratch in there when I don't want it there. So I'd like a little bit more space at the beginning. And then the other thing is that the next sound, I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. I like that. I like the yeah. Oh, I like the go. So that's nice, but next one, not really feeling that much. And then the beat. So I just feel like for the scratches on instant scratch, I feel like they could have given us some nicer samples there. Okay, but but it's still great for practicing. Just turn it on. Now, what I do most of the time is I don't have instant scratch on, but I have this set to scratch bank, which is so helpful in Serato having a scratch bank. Hey, you! Hey! Hey, you! Okay, so I love having those there and being able to just quickly cut to them. What I didn't realize before I got this was that when you load up scratch bank, whatever track you got playing on this deck cuts out. Now it makes sense because you only got 2 faders, but that was a challenge for me coming from a DDJ 1000, being used to being able to do 4-deck mixing and now only having 2 faders. Now there is a workaround, which is with the sample bank, and the samples, I either load them up here or I like to load them up here. So I can do my samples here, my scratch bank here, right? And then I can keep my hot cues here like that. But if you can get any track and you can load it up in the sampler and then you can play it from the sampler. So I did actually have, in a recent mix, I had 3 tracks playing at once with the sampler. The downside is you can't pitch bend on the controller with the sampler, but you can pitch bend with the mouse on the screen if you want to do that. Me, I don't want to be using a mouse when I'm DJing. I really don't want to be doing that. And that brings me down to the platters. I love that you've got this readout here. I find that so helpful, and I find that I'm looking at the vinyls. This isn't real vinyl, but you know, I'm looking at the platter and I'm not looking at the screen, and I love that. The one thing I'd love to have is on the main window, I'd love to be able to have just the track name, the name of the track, just in short. That would be massively helpful, because still you have to kind of look at your screen to check, have I got the right track loaded up here? And the waveforms can be really useful as well, because let me load up a track. Because you look through the waveforms trying to see where are the fatter bits, like where's the drop and all that, and it's more like back in the day with vinyl, where you would look at the grooves on the vinyl to see where's the drop coming in. You remember that? So this feels more like that. Now, speaking of feel as well, the actual, whatever this thing is, it's not vinyl, but when I first got it out of the box, I put my hand on it and I was like, it doesn't feel like vinyl. I was really looking forward to that vinyl feel. I got really fed up with the feel of my DDJ 1000 jog wheels. Scratching was not fun. Mixing on them was not fun anymore. And I found I basically didn't use them for that reason. And I was like, I really want vinyl again. I sold my vinyls, I sold my turntables years ago to pay for seminary, and I kind of look back and I'm like, I wish I still had them. So basically this didn't feel like vinyl, and then I loaded it up and started playing on it, and then I was like, it feels good. It's not quite vinyl, but it feels good. It's as if Pioneer said, we're not going to totally do vinyl, we're going to do something that we think would actually work better, and the grip and everything is perfect. I couldn't ask for anything different or anything better about it. I'm really, really happy about it. Now, one thing about the moving platters though is, reason why I've got a controller is because I spend a lot of my time in bed because of my disability, and I needed something I could DJ from bed with, right? And basically with this, I can put this on a stand, a bed stand, and mix in bed, right? And this is what I used to do with the DDJ 1000. But when you are moving this platter, if you turn it, it's not doing it now. Well, basically I have it at an incline for mixing from lying down, and what I find is that it makes a little noise, a little knock, knock, knock. Something is knocking, so I'm a little bit worried about that. I don't know what it is. I haven't looked inside. I've seen a lot of people taking theirs out and saying, they're a bit worried about the plastic being fragile and all that. I'm just not even going there right now. Like, until someone makes some nice felt slip mats that fit this perfectly and that aren't gonna get bits of fluff and dirt go inside it, I'm not opening them. Like, I'm happy with how they are. I haven't felt like they're fragile at all. In fact, I've felt like this is so well made compared to a DDJ 1000. It feels really solid to me. I really like it. Okay, something that's took a bit of getting used to, but the pitch bend here, I actually really like this now. I'm used to doing a spindle and doing this, but I actually find this is more precise. Maybe it looks a bit more boring. The pitch speed 33 and 45, interesting to me that it's not here, because it's supposed to be battle style, so it would normally be there, so I'm not too sure why they've done that. I love the fact there's a break on here. On the DDJ 1000, I had to, map one of the microphone volume knobs, I think it was, to try and get that. I'm always changing the breaking speed, and I love doing that in the mix, going, funnily enough, there was one track, let me load it up here. When I did a mix the other day,
this here is a story.
I'll load this loop. Okay. Now I wanted to do a break on the loop. That's the loop, right? Oh, it worked. It didn't work. It didn't work for me when I was recording a mix the other day. And so there was like a glitch on it. And so what I then did, in fact, let me just see, maybe if I get it going faster. Yeah. See that glitch there? Maybe I'm asking too much for it to break on a loop, but for that reason, I ended up doing something I never thought I would do. I ended up using the break effect, okay?
Rise above and be strong and learn to be me.
Okay, it's really not fun doing that instead of pressing the button and watching the platter stop, but it had to be done. So I was like, okay, I've actually made use of the break effect. Okay, speaking of effects, the echo effect is nice. The echo out is nice. The fill out is interesting. Haven't found a use for it yet, but there definitely are uses for it. I just haven't used it yet. Spiral's quite nice. The one-shot break, I showed you I had to use that. Duck down. I mean, I really love duck down. I mean, let's load something up. I mean, that's a banging effect, and obviously you can change the speed of it. So I really like duck down. There's a spin back effect on this, and I just think that shouldn't be there on these, because I'm not one of those DJs who hates on the sync button, or because then you'd be like, well, let's hate on hot cue buttons, and let's hate on all the other things we've had over the years that have progressed from how some of us back in the day were using SoundLab belt driven turntables, and we didn't have a proper crossfader and everything. So, you know, and using the line switches, you know, to do transforms and stuff. I'm not like that, but spin backs are fun, right? So you got a move-in platter. So to me, when I saw there was a spin back, I was like, nah, that's no fun doing a spin back like that. But anyway, there's lots of good effects on this. I really like the effects. The EQ sound nice, and I prefer the sound of this unit to a DDJ 1000 any day. I really like the sound quality on here. Now, like I said, I've been using the sampler as like a third deck, and you can, the only thing is the sampler will output on either channel 1 or channel 2. You can also set it up for in Serato to come out the master on that, but if you want to do the effects, as far as I can work out, you've got to pick either channel 1 or channel 2. Sometimes that gets a bit problematic. I wish, like on the Pioneer S11 mixer, that there was that mashup feature where you could send one track to combine with the other one. I would love to have that. But basically, you can, if you hold down sampler, you can then press parameter and you can change the output. So you can do that if you want to change it up. Silent cue, I use that way more than I thought I would. All the time I was using silent cue. When you're doing something up here, it's quicker to mute it here than to come down to the crossfader. I have my crossfader set to a 1mm cut, and I have it quite loose, so sometimes as well you just accidentally knock it, and having silent cue for that peace of mind that is not going to mess up your mix is quite nice. Hot cue, I don't use the roll feature or the slicer. I use the save loop thing. I do kind of miss how on record box under the hot cues you had your loops as well. Sampler, obviously. Smooth echo, I really like smooth echo. So on the mix I did recently,
Mr. Duncan smack the tracks.
So having that is really helpful when you need to fill out the sound a bit longer if it's not working with the timing of the other track.
This here is a story about how Mr. Duncan. This here is a story about how Mr. Duncan. This here is a story about how
Mr. Duncan.
So I really like smooth echo, and I like being able to adjust it, and I like how you can just adjust it here. Just straight away you get in here to make those adjustments. I think that is heavy, and again it means you're not looking at your laptop screen. Okay, what else have we got here? The queuing. This is what I was used to queuing back in the day when I had a DJM 909 mixer, I think it was, and another mixer I had was like this. But having used a DDJ 1000 for a bit, I do kind of miss having a cue button here and there, but I'm sure it's just a case of me getting used to it. Okay, what else is there to talk about here? The paddles. I can't believe I didn't talk about the effects paddles. I absolutely love these. I really, really love them. You know, I love that. If I get an effect.
Mr. Duncan, smack the track, so join me or dress back and watch as I should back.
I love how you can just put them on for one word.
Mr. Duncan, smack the track, so join me or dress back and watch as I should.
And I also love how you can
Mr. Duncan, smack the track, so join
just
me
flick
or
them
dress
on and
back
leave them on.
watch as I should.
I really loved that, and actually this was something that I was really missing about DJing, is having paddles. So all in all, I love this unit, and the things I like about it most is the feel of vinyl. It feels like vinyl, apart from not putting a needle on the record. I love the effects paddles. Those two things, the effects paddles, the feel of vinyl, and scratch bank, those are the things that are really doing it for me with this mixer. And lastly, I see some people say, well, isn't it awkward having the pitch here? I don't find it awkward. Now, I did used to DJ both ways, battle style and regular. So I'm used to having it up there and also used to having it up here. What I love about this one is back in the day when you would put your turntables this way around, you would have a tone arm in the way, and you had to be careful when you changed this that you didn't knock the tone arm. Now you haven't got a tone arm, so it's absolutely banging. I love it. Now, one question I've got, if anyone knows the answer to this, here on the smooth echo button, for the shift feature, if you press shift in this button, it says sampler effects. I've experimented holding shift down and doing that, and I can't work out what it does. Okay, it's not doing anything for me. It's not in the manual either. I've searched the manual, and I've searched the manual of the S11 mixer, which also has this on there. Was it the S7 or the S11? I think it's the S11. And it's not in that manual either, so it's doing my nutting. So if anyone knows, please let me know. I'd really like to know. Also, I should have said back here, it's got split cue, which is nice. You have to change split cue in the utility. I would have loved to have had a button to change split cue. On this side as well, which I can't show you, you've got all your EQ, you've got all your crossfader and fader adjustments. And I love how you've got the tension adjust on the crossfader. I love that. Some units you have to open them up to change that. This you can just experiment on the fly. You can make it really stiff, or you can make it really loose. And I absolutely love that. I love that you got your hamster switches and everything. It's great. So yeah, like I said, this interview is not as good as other people's interviews. I just wanted to put a few things in there in case they were of help to anyone. I have had some bugs with this. They might be software related. I'm talking to Serato about some of those bugs, and I don't want to bring them in on this interview. I might do another review. I don't want to put them in this one because I'm not too sure if it's because I've been running the USB through a hub, and I'm not too sure if Serato have said to delete my preferences file, start it again to see if that helps. So I'm going to give that a try first. So yeah, that's it. The Rev7, I love it. I love it a lot. I spent a lot of time on it just in the 2 weeks I've had it. I feel like I'm using vinyl again, and I can like DJ from my bed, which for someone with a disability is huge to be able to DJ from my bed. I just hope that that knocking sound I hear as I'm DJing doesn't mean that the whole thing's getting broke up and it's gonna die one day. But yeah, I'm a very happy camper. God bless.